Welcome back to another video. When I put this shirt on today, it got me thinking about legends. And there was one time in particular when I met an absolutely legend in the trucking space, and I'm gonna tell you about it, so stick around. Now before we get into this video, I'm gonna turn it into a little bit of a teaching point towards the end. And we're gonna talk about how you should act out here like a legend like Mr. Bob Spooner versus one of these other guys that I'm gonna briefly talk about. So stick around for that. But if you don't know, Mr. Bob Spooner, he's an absolute legend in the trucking space. He's been around for a long time. He's got an excellent interview over on Big Rig Videos, which, you know what, I'll link that in the description box down below. You should absolutely check that out. He's just a wealth of knowledge, and he's a really, really good guy. But he started way back in the day, and he bought himself a 1961 large car. And I mean a large car. It's a really nice truck. He's rebuilt it completely from the ground up 5 times. And I don't know if he shares that, but that's something that he did share with me at the time. And I remember I pulled into the Petro over there in Amarillo. And while I was over there, I'm keeping an eye out for things just like I always do. And I'm pretty sure that I was there, I was on a 34-hour reset. And on Sunday, I saw this really nice truck pull in. And I looked at it and I thought, you know what? I recognize that truck. Sure enough, it's Mr. Bob Spooner. And he was pulling a low pro, but he was pulling a triple axle. So he had the 3-axle step deck, and saw him pull around there, and he parked in his usual spot, as he told me, there at the Petro. And he had a nice big oversized load, and not only oversized, it was actually overweight. And that's just what he liked to do before he retired. Mr. Spooner did wind up retiring. I believe it was at some point in the last year. It was kind of a big deal. There was news about it. There was news about him selling his truck, and I believe the gentleman that bought his truck not only bought the truck but also bought the trailer. But whenever I saw him pull in, immediately the YouTuber in me wanted to grab the camera and run over there and try to get some footage, because that would that would be incredible footage. But at the same time, I wanted to respect the man, and more than anything, I just wanted to talk to him. I just wanted to see what kind of knowledge that he had that he would share. So rather than kind of being annoying and running my camera over there, I just went and had a conversation with him. And he was such a good guy. I mean, such a good guy. He was funny, very charismatic, told a couple stories, told a couple really good stories. A couple fights out here on the road, and just, hauling heavy, and just some old school trucker stuff. And it was fantastic that, I didn't even walk over to him. As a matter of fact, let me tell you how the conversation started. Me and a friend were there, and we were talking, and we saw him pull in. And we saw him over there park, and I mean, it's pretty obvious when somebody's kind of staring at you. You can tell. And I've experienced a little bit of this, from the YouTube space. And so obviously he knew that we were talking about him. We recognized him. We knew who he was, and we didn't even have to go up and talk to him. I promise you, he was at least, I don't know, 200 yards away, a couple football fields away. And he walked over to us. Now, when we realized that he was walking towards us, we started walking towards him as well. But that right there speaks volumes about the man. And, he certainly did not disappoint, having a conversation with him. And, I started asking him about, actually questions about trucking. And it was specifically because I hadn't had this trailer that long. I was asking him about tires and things of that nature. And as soon as I did that, the floodgates opened, and he was more than happy to share his knowledge. And that was very, very impressive to me. I've had that experience with a couple of guys, and I'm going to say that for the most part, most of the old school truckers that have been out here a long time, they're more than happy to share their knowledge. On the flip side of that, I see it a lot in comments about how the younger generation of truck drivers, the new truck drivers, they don't want to ask the old truck drivers questions because they're very grumpy, and they're not really willing to share that knowledge. And I tell you what, well, let me preface this. We're gonna get into the comparison here about how you should be a legend like Mr. Bob Spooner versus one of these other guys. And I did a video, and I guess the video kind of got lost in translation. It was a short video. It was about backing up. And in the backing up, I showed kind of all the little tight spots and the little things that I had to go around. But overall, the actual backing maneuver, the backing part of the backing maneuver, was not difficult. It was actually kind of a small serpentine. But the thing was, if you did not set up for this properly, if you haphazardly came around that corner, you didn't stop and get out and look and see what kind of space that you were working with, you were gonna turn it into an absolute nightmare. And that was the point, was to use absolutely every inch. I learned about this long before, because I used to be on a blood plasma dedicated route, and we would make our way through parking lots and a lot of tight spaces that were not built for trucks, that were generally downtown and all over the United States. So, I'm very proficient as far as using every single inch that I have, and I took that opportunity to make that video and kind of teach the new truck drivers you should be using every inch when possible. That way you don't get yourself into a difficult situation. If you did not set up for that properly, you were going to make that back a living hell, and you don't want that. It was snowy, it was icy, and I, like I said, made that video. But anyway, here's one of the comments that happened to make its way onto the video. And I mean, first of all, it's kind of funny, because the first thing out of this guy's mouth is BFD, which, if you don't understand what that means big effing deal. All right. At the end of the comment, it says that he's a 60-year truck driver. Okay, so back in the day, you could have gotten away with, 75 years ago, you could have gotten away with starting maybe driving at the age of 15. So best case scenario, this guy's 75 years old. I'm sorry, I don't know a 75-year-old guy that knows what BFD even stands for. So, first of all, if you're gonna troll, at least do it right. You just kind of pretty much make yourself look like an idiot. But I do want to thank you, because that kind of gave me the idea to compare, on this video here. And I've had many other comments from guys that are new truck drivers that, they're kind of scared to ask for help, because whenever they do ask for help, guys are just, they're just jerks, basically. And, there's old school values there. There's old school, it used to be that truck drivers passed on knowledge to the younger generation to, this is the brotherhood, this is the fraternity that I was talking about in previous videos, where that's how knowledge was passed, not even necessarily just in the trucking space, but in all spaces. And that's how mainly, information used to pass, and it went from generation to generation to generation. Well, it's a little bit lost nowadays, unfortunately. And you've got some guys out there that are doing what they can. It's why I started this YouTube channel, to spread what knowledge that I have about this industry, or that I've learned from other people, on, and pass that knowledge on. Well, in something else, and I'm actually not going to mention this guy's name because he is another YouTuber, and I'm not really into drama. I will get into it if I need to, but at the same time, I'm going to keep a little bit of anonymity here. But this does pertain as well. I mean, if you're a smart trucker, you'll figure out who I'm talking about. But this guy made he made an Instagram post about one of my videos, and I'll link that video. I'll put that in the comments down below. It's an older video. It's not one of my greatest, but it's kind of fun to watch, I guess. But anyway, it was talking about outlaw trucking and how, going around scales. And that's kind of like the cool part of being a truck driver. But this guy made this Instagram post, and first of all, the thumbnail was a goofy picture, and he was trying to imitate me and making me look stupid. And then in the comments, talked about I was wet behind the ears, and how I had a lot to learn, and that's what he said in the video. And I mean, you know, it's a little ironic that he talked about how when they were old school truck drivers, if they were doing something like going around a scale, they didn't talk about it. You know, they kept to themselves. I mean, isn't that a little ironic that you make a post about drama about another YouTuber? Like, I thought you had old school values. Thought you kept it to yourself. But whatever. Anyway, the point is, don't be like these other truck drivers. You know, be like Mr. Bob Spooner. If you have knowledge, and don't discount yourself. If you haven't been out here that long, you know, if you are talking to other drivers out here and you're picking up nuggets, you're picking up knowledge, then you might even not know what you know. You know, don't be afraid to pass that information along and just say, look, man, I heard it from this other guy. I don't know if it's true or not, but this is what I was told. So, you know, do with it what you want. And that's how knowledge gets passed through the trucking industry. And, you know, I just ask that you respect the trucking brotherhood and you be like Mr. Bob Spooner. Don't be the grumpy old truck driver that tries to keep all of his knowledge. And, you know, and if you really are Mr. Super Trucker, Mr. 60 years, been out here, then, you know, what are you doing about it? You know, what are you doing about it? Because as far as I'm concerned, if you've been out here for 20 plus years, you know, you've definitely earned respect for being out here that long, but respect is earned. It's not just plain given. And so at this, you know, while yes, you know, if you have that kind of experience, then I do respect you, but at the same time, if you open your mouth and nothing but bile comes out of it, you immediately lose respect. So, you know, don't lose respect out here. Let's be prideful. Let's be proud of the fact that we're truck drivers. Let's get it back to old school. This is not an embarrassing career. This is something you should be absolutely proud of. And I can assure you, the legend, Bob Spooner, is very proud of his career. And I'm proud to be a truck driver because of truck drivers like him. But if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Share it out if you enjoyed it. I would appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you know when the next video is coming out. Check out one of these right over here. But as always, stay driven.